The Mark Cox Show. Find everything Mark Cox at 971talk.com/Cox.
Welcome back. We're up against it just a little bit here with our guest, Jessica Rosenthal from Fox News Radio. Jessica, how are you?
I'm fine, sir. How are you?
I'm doing great, thank you. So Donald Trump ruffled a few feathers with his suggestion that there were a lot of illegal votes in California. What's the reaction been to that?
Well, the reaction has been one of denial, specifically from our Secretary of State here in the state of California, who said that these are very unsubstantiated claims, and California has very robust laws that would protect against this, and a very systematic approach to counting votes and gathering them up and handling them, really, if you will. But there is still some concern from some pockets, though other people have pointed out, listen, Donald Trump actually, this was the first time, I think, in decades that Orange County, which is a traditionally Republican county, did not go Republican. It actually went Democrat. And the demographics of that county have been changing, but people point to that and say, listen, Mr. Trump couldn't hold on to what is traditionally a Republican county. Like these are bits and pieces of proof that go to show that that his claims are unsubstantiated and that he didn't do as well in certain counties that you might have expected him to do well. Meanwhile, congressional Republicans still hung on to their seats. So how do you explain that then if you want to claim that there was a massive amount of voter fraud? So, it depends on who you talk to, but different people are pointing to different pieces of evidence that they say refute this notion that there was some widespread voter fraud.
I know you've got to go in a second. Do they have they don't have voter ID laws in California, do they?
No, California is one place where you don't have to show ID. Although if you go into a voting location and you don't know your voting location, they might ask you for information to help you figure out your polling location. Okay. But no one is supposed to say, show me your ID in order to give you a ballot.
Very good. Jessica Rosenthal, Fox News Radio. I know you got to get off here. Thank you so much for your time.
Thanks, sir.
Yeah, absolutely. Appreciate that. Got back from that break a little later. It's my fault because I'm a gas bag and I talked too long in the last segment. So Jessica had a live radio hit she had to do, and I had to get her out of there by just a couple of minutes. So anyway, hated to cut her short. Interesting that California is so put out about the allegation that illegals may have voted there. I mean, Hillary Clinton's vote totals were big in California. They normally are. But even pockets where Republicans normally win went for Hillary Clinton big. And you kind of got to wonder. I wonder if they'd look at the same thing in Nevada. So until we see evidence otherwise, though, it's no different than what Jill Stein is alleging. Jill Stein is claiming that she needs to have these recounts because we won't know what's in the bill until we read it. That's what she claims.
It's not just a question of hacking. Let me just be clear about that. It's also human error, mistakes in the way that these optical scanners, they can't always read if someone has checked off and clarified their intent. A human being would say, this was the vote that they intended, but the machine would miss it. So there are all kinds of reasons why the machines, need to be verified. And that's what we're asking here, is that we have a vote that we can have confidence in and that we can believe in.
I think that sort of sounds like a threat to democracy. Isn't that what you think of when you think about that? Anderson Cooper wanted to know, as many of us did, how Jill Stein managed to raise however much it's going to be, close to $6 million, which is triple what she raised during the actual campaign, and what's going to happen to that money. And listen to her answers here, because this goes on for about a minute, and you kind of get the impression that Anderson got to what he was after here.
Donald Trump, as you know, has accused you of trying to fill your own coffers by doing this. Can you guarantee that all the money goes to that you're raising, millions of dollars, goes to the recount effort, and any money that's left over, what happens to that?
Absolutely. And this is all transparent on our website. You have the budget there as to exactly how this is being budgeted. But it's all going into a dedicated recount fund, which is not accessible to the campaign. The campaign and the party do not have access to that
And what
fund.
happens to it
is
afterward if there's more left over?
Well, we don't expect there to be money left over. If it turns out that there is, we will dispose of it according to FEC guidelines.
And are you creating a mailing list off this or creating a database of this for your own future use?
We don't have plans at the moment, but
But you are collecting names and contact information of the people donating money.
That is always the case. But, there are a lot of voters who feel like this is a really critical movement, and it's a need that hasn't been filled by the other parties, and we intend to carry this movement forward.
Thank you. That's what it gets down to right there at the end. This is something that the other two parties haven't dealt with, and we intend to carry forward. Join the Green Party. And by the way, we now have all of your contact information, and we'll be bugging you forever for donations. That's all this was about. I believe that. However, she can throw a wrench in the gears if she can force them to push this count past the deadline of the 13th. Now, there was a report earlier today that talked specifically about how the count would probably, if they used the precedent of 2000 with the Al Gore count, when it went past that deadline, the decision was that they had to stop counting, right, when that deadline came. And my guess is you'd have a court, this would go to court, and they would have to make a decision on it like that. So we'll see what happens. We have not heard anything definitive on that. But if she threatens legal action to try to get a hand count in Wisconsin, or the Clintons, or in some cases, maybe even somebody from Trump's campaign challenges something legally, this is not going to get done in time. They just can't get it done in time. It's just not going to happen.